Hey, everybody, welcome once again to Nerds with Alcohol. I am Russ.
And I'm Chris.
And this is episode 197. Everybody, 197, back in the virtual nerd basements. Guys, sorry about the a little bit late start, couple of minutes late. We're still rocking and rolling, trying a few new things out. We're actually using Zoom instead of Skype this time around.
Yep.
So hopefully we will not run into quite so many problems with some of the audio issues and stuff that we've been having. We don't know.
Yep.
And as you can see, Chris also created a lovely new Halloween display.
Yeah, I was gonna say spooky vision, as CD just said.
So yeah. Well, it looks pretty good. I like it. Yeah. I'm gonna need to back up a little bit because my head is taking up the entire fucking thing.
Head, move.
It's like a Sputnik. It's like it's got an orange on a toothpick.
So how was your week, man?
Right. Well, just like anything these days, it had its ups and downs. Living in the world that is coronavirus and pandemic stuff, and the ridiculous's that is our governmental system, which we'll get into a little bit. We're ladies and gentlemen, we're probably, just as a heads up, we're going to dive into a little bit of current events today. But
there's a lot that we got to talk about.
There's a lot we're going to just address for a bit. But anyway, my week last week, a lot of working and a lot of late nights. We did we did skip last week because we did feel that it was important that people watch the debates,
and we shouldn't have.
Pardon?
And we shouldn't have.
In fact, we should have live streamed it.
That's what I actually.
We should have Mystery Science Theater 3000 day.
Yeah, we actually had people tell us that there was a suggestion that we should have just actually. A friend of mine actually said that we should have actually just done a live stream of the debate, because he's like, I would have watched that and probably watched it till the end.
I see. The thing is, I think I probably would have been in stunned silence a lot of the time, because it's just like, what, how, what, huh, hey. But before we get into that, I had a nice weekend. Stella and I went to the Detroit Zoo on Saturday.
I haven't been there in years.
It had definitely declined for a number of years. I remember it being wonderful when we were kids, and then it was on decline for a number of years. But then I think,
well, it came back when they did like the new polar bear exhibit, or the whole like cold exhibit that they did, and then that was really cool. And then the chimpanzees were first, and then they did the polar bear.
Yeah, the chimps, the gorillas, and we don't have elephants anymore, but they have rhinos, and it's just the zoo has greatly improved over the last decade or two. And because, like I said, it had kind of been in decline for a number of years. And it was a lovely day. It started off kind of sunny, ended kind of cloudy, but and cool.
Well, and that's the thing. The weather was nice and cool, so that's the perfect time to go, because the animals are actually active.
Yes, exactly. They usually say the best time to go, particularly during the summer, is either early in the morning or later in the evening, right before they close. And like I said, the temperature had cooled down quite a bit, so we were just enjoying ourselves. And there were a number of exhibits or not exhibits, but environments, whatever, enclosures that we didn't get to see the wolves. The wolves were out and about, and they were just kind of we couldn't really see them. It's a very big enclosure with only two wolves in it. So yeah, she was just telling me she was going to run out for a minute. And the tigers, they just recently, within the last year or so, expanded the tiger enclosure to be like triple the size now. So
good, maybe they'll be better next year then.
Yeah, we could see some more tiger. Yeah. Well, tigers are in the news lately, so they could probably house a couple more tigers now for sure. So anyway, the tiger was one of the ones that we saw was kind of way back napping by the time. But the bears, holy shit, dude! I haven't had an encounter, like an interaction with an animal like that. There's 3 bears. They're all siblings.
You talking the grizzlies?
Yeah, the grizzly bears. They're all siblings. They were all orphans from. They were orphaned in Alaska. Their mother had been shot and killed, and so they've been at the Detroit Zoo since they were cubs, and they were just hilarious. They were right up in front. And they're interacting with people, and they're sniffing the air, and I'm just thinking, oh, somebody's got a baby over there. Hey, can I have your baby? But they were just like, oh man, it was so cool. And of course, at one point, hi, Dresden. At one point, the bear, one of the bears, just kind of turns around. He's right on the edge of the precipice that they have, the kind of the separating like crevice, basically. He just turns around and shits right there. You know? And I'm like, well, there's the answer to the question right there.
Well,
does a bear shit at the zoo? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But we had a good time. It was really fun. And Friday we had game. We had our latest Tavern Nights game. That was a lot of fun.
That was a blast.
And it's just that's been just ramping up more and more fun. It's been really cool, guys. If you guys are watching the Tavern Night show, let us know how you feel about it, if you're liking it and stuff.
Yeah, this one I think was one of our best sessions. It was a good mix of both RP and and some action. You guys actually got into some fights. We
got into some combat there. Poor Ed couldn't get across that damn bridge.
Neither could Rich.
Yeah, it's this damn rope bridge. I was enjoying the fact that that Marek Karras could kind of lay the smackdown on some fucking orcs, and it was a lot of fun. It was a blast, and I'm really enjoying. I'm just on such a big D&D kick these days. It's been great. It's D&D it's at an all-time high. I mean, I'm almost caught up with Critical Role. I'm like almost dreading that a little bit, that I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to be caught up completely in Critical Role. Like I'll have listened to more of it than you have, because I started with the originals and got all the way through, and so I've got about 5 episodes. I think I'm at 108 or something like that, 107. So or just finished that one. So I just am in such a huge D&D kick. I really want to draw the characters from our game, and I was going to get involved in this other show, but that didn't pan out. And I almost want to think about. I had some one of the girls at work was talking about it. She and her boyfriend have really kind of wanted to learn how to play D&D, and I said, well, I'd be happy to just kind of run a throwaway, like a little intro to D&D session with Shayna from work and her boyfriend, and maybe I could get Amanda and a couple other people, maybe even Stella, to kind of sit in for an evening of Dungeons and Dragons. But I'm so enjoying myself. I'm really hoping. I'm really looking forward to to 21, when we get to see, God's willing, we get to see Critical Role animated, and the Legend of Vox Machina animated. I think that's going to be. I haven't been looking forward to something quite so much since probably, when it comes to TV anyway. God, forever. I think. I can't remember the last time I was this excited about.
I'm trying to get us to a point where I can get Renee to sit down and watch the Dungeons and Dragons animated TV show from the 80s.
Oh yeah, see, I've been thinking about that too. I have a bootleg copy.
I have the real at a con. I have the real copy.
Yeah, I bought a bootleg copy that I bought at a con, at a Comic-Con, before when you could still buy bootleg copies, before they made the actual one you could purchase, the series set, and it's actually really great. It looks beautiful. Whoever made it did a really great job. So I've been meaning to kind of sit. Yeah, it's up on my shelf there. Kind of meaning to watch that again. Because like I said, man, D&D bigger now than it has been since it was first created, and I'm on such an excited kick about it these days. It's great.
Renee actually just sent me a link on Facebook. I haven't looked at it. It's something I heard about, but it's a fan-made video of like the actual, like what the final episode would have been.
Oh really? Yeah, I think I read something about that too. Where they it was revealed that Venger is actually Dungeon Master's son or something like that.
Yeah.
And
well, I thought that actually came out in like the second season of the show, but maybe not.
I can't remember. It's been so long.
Yeah, it's been so long since I've watched it. And yeah, Renee said she's willing to watch it, so
Well, she's enjoying Dungeons and Dragons too.
She's enjoying it immensely. She's having a blast.
The funny thing about that cartoon is that those weapons, I mean, it's no wonder like Avenger was trying to get them because they were artifact level weapons.
First level characters with artifacts.
Yeah.
But nothing else.
Yeah.
And not all of them were weapons.
No, well, not really.
Well,
no,
Sheila had the Sheila had the cloak of invisibility. Whoop, that's all she had.
Yeah.
And Eric had the shield. He didn't have a weapon. He had a shield.
She had a shield. You're right. In fact, actually, there was only really, honestly, 2 weapons.
3.
I mean, you could count the bow staff too, but you know, when you really, I mean, that's kind of, you know, it could have been a walking stick. You know, that it was Bobby's club and what's his name's
Hank.
bow.
I think it's Hank.
Hank's bow. Those were the only 2.
Which the bow's the one I always wanted, man. That bow was badass. The electric
the wild thing about it was so multi-use, man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he could do so many things with those arrows.
Technically, Presto's hat was kind of a weapon. If he knew how to use it, it would.
Presto's hat was arguably the most powerful item there was.
It's just he couldn't use it.
Right. He could pull literally anything out of that thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he could conjure anything he needed, but he couldn't use it.
Because it was based on confidence, and he had none.
Right, exactly. Here, hang on. I'm going to grab my set.
Gotta get up. Doesn't matter. Gonna make me sit here and talk. I'll just drink my beer. Knocking shit off. Making a guitar strum.
That's a ruler I had lost.
Oh yeah.
This was...
So that's what it was that you dropped. I said I saw you drop something there, and it sounded like it hit the guitar strings.
It did. It hit a guitar. It hit a guitar right there. Yeah. This was the set that I bought. It's a complete series, and you can tell like it's like, you know, kind of made from a printout. They printed it out, but I mean, the for a bootleg kind of thing, they did pretty good. You know,
they did it on DVDs too.
For it.
Okay.
And it.
I thought you were gonna pull down like a bootleg VHS of it or something like that.
No. It was a bootleg DVD, and I mean, I'm not that gauche. Come on. And I mean, they used pretty good files that they had gotten. You know, only heroes will make it home. Dungeons and Dragons, the complete series. And Gary Gygax was a producer on this show, actually.
I mean, the show itself wasn't bad. It was corny as hell.
It was.
But it was early 80s.
And
everything for kids was corny as hell.
Yeah. It was only like only at its bare bones, Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah.
Like, they took a lot of
I am Dungeon Master.
Dungeon Master, yeah. Yeah. They took a lot of like liberties with everything and stuff, but still, I mean, I love this series so much. 4 discs, yeah. So, and then like maybe a year later, the actual official one came out. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I picked it up. I saw it on sale at Best Buy one time. I was just flipping through their ad online, and I went, oh, it was like $10. I'm like, yeah. I must own this.
Yeah, you can pick it up for next to nothing right now. So, well, how was your week? What was your week like?
It was pretty typical. Other than, I mean, Friday was our game, which absolutely was a blast. The night flew by. I couldn't believe we'd been playing for like 4.5, 5 hours. Yeah, it was crazy how fast that went by. And then Saturday we had one of my nephews they did a birthday party for him. His birthday's actually in November, but because of COVID, they wanted to do something outside so we could socially distance and all that while the weather was still decent. So Saturday we did a party for him over at my brother-in-law's house. And that was a lot of fun. Hung out outside, had a fire going, and all that. So it was cool. He just turned 11, I think it is. or 12.
Oh, the big 1-1.
Yeah, 11 or 12. It's actually Pizza Sun from Tavern Nights, as a matter of fact. So we did that, and then Sunday kind of just hung around the house for the most part. Did laundry, all that, and then all that. Plus, I did watch the debate last Tuesday. I watched the entire thing.
See, you're a better man than I. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get. I was like, I will break shit. I'll start breaking shit.
But yeah. So other than that, again, yeah. If you guys check out Tavern Nights, let us know what you think. It looks like CD's checked it out a couple of times, at least in passing. So that's cool. Appreciate that. But yeah, that was a blast. I can't wait for the next one. So what are you drinking?
You know what? I'm just having one of these. That's a bug. I'm just having one of these brunches.
I'm having a brunch.
The Michigan hard cider from Farmhouse. These are lovely. They really are great. I reviewed them a couple weeks ago, and they're just really good. And I had one more left in the fridge, and I'm busting my ass at work. I haven't got time to shop, so yeah, these are lovely. Gotta check these out. Cinnamon and maple Michigan hard cider from Farmhouse Cider Company brunch. You can get them at a lot of the nicer bottle shops, and I think I might have seen it at Kroger too, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, I picked some up, or had Renee pick some up, and I will concur. They are most delicious.
Yeah.
I think I got one left in the fridge downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things Renee was actually able to find, I was going to tell you, is the original Strongbow Dry is back.
Nice.
And it's freaking delicious. I'll probably review that in a couple of weeks.
Strongbow, one of the originals, one of the first ciders you could get.
English dry cider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the first ciders you could get here. Besides, it was right up there with like Woodchuck and Woodpecker cider.
Mm-hmm.
Strongbow was one of the first to be distributed here in the States.
Yep. So, well, I am drinking a beer that I picked up, and I'm doing it right now. I was going to do a different one, but I wanted to do this one because I picked it up this last week because I found it, and there's a reason for it. I am drinking the Founders Harvest Ale. So that's it right there.
Okay.
It is a wet hopped ale. So, and that's why I'm doing it now, because a wet hopped ale is one that you want to drink as soon as possible after it's bottled.
Okay.
Because it will lose some of its hop flavors over time. Usually want to drink it within 30 to 45 days. 60 is kind of pushing it.
Okay.
From what I understand with the wet hopped ales. This one is 7.6%. And it was bottled on September 21st. So not too long ago. Again, that's what the label looks like. Oops. Wait, which way am I going? Where am I going?
Nice. Yeah, right there.
Yep. It's kind of a cool label with the picture of the hop. Basically, with the hop, what they do with the harvest ales and the wet hopped ales, it is generally less than 60 minutes from, vine to kettle. So basically, a lot of the breweries, and I know Founders has the money to do this, will rent helicopters and fly to a nearby hop farm, which I know there's a bunch out on the west side of the state too. But they'll fly the helicopter to the hop farm where the hops are being harvested into basically just baskets. They throw them on the helicopter and they take off back to the brewery. Land, take them in while the guys are already brewing the beer, and they get there just as the hop additions are ready to be put in.
Okay.
And they dump them in while they call it wet hop because they haven't been dried out at all. They still have all the resins and all the oils on the actual hop flowers themselves.
Okay.
So it's you get a lot of really intense and fresh hop flavor, but it does degrade a lot faster than once they're dried out. So this one, it has a lot. It does have some hop aroma. It's not overpowering. But it's a nice hop aroma. It's a little tropical. But yeah, that's most of what it is. It is also a nice golden color. And it is one of the things I like a lot about a lot of these is that the hop flavor is there, but it's not like a punch in the face of hops. It's not like you're just drinking a hop bomb. It truly is a blend of flavors, and this is a really well balanced beer. It has a lot of hop flavor, very tropical. I'd say probably a little mango. I wonder if it tells. Does it say which hops they used? Let's see. Each fall, our brewhouse looks more like a greenhouse as thousands of pounds of wet hop cones arrive within hours of being picked by some of our favorite local hop growers. Acting quickly, we then load up these wet hops into what will become Harvest Ale, an impossibly aromatic and bright IPA bursting with fresh pine, melon, and citrus notes. Our ode to the beauty that is the wet American hop. So it doesn't actually say what it is, but I don't get a lot of melon. I do get tropical and maybe a little bit of pine, but it's mostly the tropical. It's kind of it's almost like a smooth flavor. It's got a very smooth mouthfeel. Mm-hmm. But I actually really like this. I am going to give this probably 4.25 bottle caps. This is really good. I like it a lot.
All right.
So yeah, if you can find it, it's only available for a short time. I can't. I don't know where the camera is. I don't know. I always go the wrong way. Founders Harvest Ale. I know they distribute nationally. I don't know if how far this one goes. So, or how much of this one they made. Comes in 4-packs. It's one of their specialties. So, but it's really good.
Well, alrighty. So we got brunch from Farmhouse, and say it again.
Harvest Ale from
Harvest Ale.
Yep, from Founders.
From Founders. All right. Why don't we just kind of get right into it? I think.
So we took last week off.
Right.
Encouraged everyone to watch the debate, and
right.
I apologize for getting on here and actually telling everyone that they should watch the debate. Although I think it was a good thing. I did watch the whole thing. I think Joe Biden probably had one of the best lines. Chris Wallace had a couple of good ones. Trump was what he is. He was a bully. He came in. He tried to take over. He wouldn't let anyone, including the moderator, speak. If he felt that he needed to say something. So it was a beautiful example of what Trump is, I think.
Oh, for sure.
And you could see Biden getting frustrated. I mean, the whole will you shut up, man line, which I thought was brilliant. I loved it personally.
Me too. I when I heard he did that, I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. It's so amazing.
Yeah, it's very unpresidential, sure. but it was such a natural moment. It was
exactly.
It was just, will you just shut up, man?
Shut up.
And it was horrible. Because it was horrible. By that point, I was waiting for the fist to fly. Yeah. This was like two old fuckers arguing over the fence, is the way I put it. I'm like, this is two old guys screaming and yelling about somebody's dog shitting on their lawn.
Yeah.
And just arguing, and it was horrible. I am looking forward to tomorrow night is the vice presidential debate. I'm going to watch that. I have a feeling that's going to be much more of an actual debate.
Yeah.
Well,
Pence is actually a politician.
Yes.
As much of a piece of shit as he is, he's still a politician. So he will most probably comport himself with a modicum of dignity.
If he's asked to denounce racism and racist groups, he'll do it.
He'll probably do it. Yeah.
He knows that the answer, like if someone asks you if you're a god, there's one answer. You say
yes. You say
yes.
yes. Ray.
I mean, that was a softball to Trump.
Oh, absolutely.
That do you denounce the
Absolutely.
racist groups and racism and the race
Stand
groups?
down and
Stand back and stand by.
stand back and stand by. Like, Jesus Christ, man.
Which within minutes they had that as like logos.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, they started putting it on their flags and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, holy shit. If anything, if there was anything that would have like proven that he is at the very least a sympathizer towards groups like that, like you gotta know that his advisors were just watching that debate, and every time there were so many forehead,
Yeah, face palms.
so many face palms. I like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Or the Picard. Just,
yeah. Yep.
The thing is so the next day, the day after that, or 2 days after that, I saw this thing on Facebook. It was the condemn, is something like it was the condemn white supremacy challenge tag or whatever, and it was a hashtag.
Yeah.
And just clicked on it, and it just put it on your page, and you could put a little blurb saying, "Hey, yeah, I condemn white supremacy." I put that on my page, and it created a firestorm of debate.
Dude, you had over 300 comments.
I couldn't fucking believe it.
I was following that. I'm like, holy shit!
It was the worst shit show, and it was.
It was like the debate.
Yeah, for those of you guys who maybe know me and can find me on Facebook, you can check it out on my page. I have not removed the post, mainly because it does go to show like just how fucking awful some of the comments were. A couple of my Facebook friends, a couple of people that were old friends of mine, that chimed in saying, either nobody was defending white supremacy. Nobody was like, I'm a white supremacist.
Yeah, not
whatever.
Flat out, but
not flat out. But there were a few people that were defending Trump. There were a few people. One guy straight up at the end, one of the last comments was this guy Garrett that I was kind of a casual friend, an acquaintance, really, just kind of an acquaintance. Straight up said, I support Trump, and I think Antifa has been the big problem behind all this. So you might as well go ahead and unfriend me now, Russ. And I haven't yet, because he did that today. But
I've been like, okay, click.
an old gaming buddy that I knew for, I don't know, I've known him since I was in my mid 20s, late 20s, and he's a military he's a Green Beret, retired Green Beret. I've always given him a respect in that, because he served, in the military. He got wounded in combat. And on top of it too, I always thought he was a really funny dude and a smart dude. But he apparently has this horribly conservative YouTube channel, and starts just going on and on and on about just all this conservative rhetoric. And I at one point, I warned him twice about being civil on my page. And finally, at the third time, I was like, you know what? That's it. You've condescended and insulted me and my friends one too many times. And I had to block him. And I've only blocked maybe, I don't know, half a dozen people. Most of the time, if I don't like a lot of what they have to say, I'll maybe unfollow them. Mm-hmm. But since this whole political thing, the political environment has happened here in the United States, I've probably unfriended and blocked at least a half a dozen people. And I'm very much about people shouldn't be afraid to express their beliefs, short of being a straight up racist or get that shit off my page. But I've always been up with the free exchange of ideas. It's a good idea to be able to hear other people's opinions and stuff. But this one, for this guy Terrence Pop that I know, that I knew, I just couldn't do it anymore. I had to go I'm sorry, man. And I gave him a chance to respond before I blocked him, and his response was okay. Because I was just like, you got to go, And like I said, people were continuing, like 3-4 days later, were continuing to comment. Another woman that I knew, she was kept going on and on about how it's not 1950 anymore. It's not 1950 anymore. I was like, we know. Nobody has actually said that. You're the only one that said that. Everybody else has just been saying, look, the fight is not over yet. Things are still problematic. Yeah, we don't have separate facilities and white only, businesses anymore. And, yes, things have improved, but it's still an ongoing battle. It's not, the war is not won.
Trump,
it's just, and if anything, yes, Donald Trump has done a lot to set back those the strides that people have made.
One of the biggest issues I have with Trump is that he has straight up quoted Hitler in things.
Yeah.
And if you look at everything he's done, he has tried to create this us versus them mentality, particularly with white Americans versus anyone of a different color. He really pushed it with the illegal immigrants.
Right.
And he tried to make it an us versus them, which is the exact same thing Hitler did with the Jews. It's all the Jews' fault. In this case, now he's saying it's all the illegals' fault. And that's not the case. The illegal immigrants are not taking your jobs.
Right.
They are not getting Medicaid. They are not doing any of those things that he's claiming that they're doing. They can't.
Right.
And they're doing the jobs that nobody fucking wants to do. Is what they're doing.
I saw like a video, not a meme, but just a quick video of a guy picking strawberries.
Yeah.
And he was like walking along, hunched over with like a basket, with a crate, like a flat of strawberries. And he had half a dozen of the strawberry, like the plastic strawberry containers, and he was filling them up and just quickly going down the line. And then when he finished the flat, he picked it up and he carried it over. And so you saw like this guy was moving fast. He was like moving really fast, getting the ripe strawberries, leaving the ones that still needed a bit more time and whatever. And I was like, because he gets paid by the pound.
Mm-hmm.
So, he needed to be fast so that he could,
make
get
more
as
money,
make as much as he could. That's not a job I would want.
Exactly.
Hunched over for hours picking strawberries. I mean, illegal immigrants, for the most part, are not taking the jobs that we would want. They're taking the jobs that nobody else will do. And so to say,
CD just posted a comment. It's exactly like working at Trump resorts.
Exactly. Well said, CD. Yeah, you're right. Some parties are very good at brainwashing. And so anyway, it was just like watching this and like I said, watching this shit show that was on my Facebook page. And several friends have been like chiming in. One of my friends said, well, at least now you know who to avoid.
Yeah.
Another guy I know, it's actually Ken Pontac. I met through one of the cons. He's actually like an entertainment professional. He does voice stuff and whatnot. And he was like, I hope you're taking the time to basically, clean out your Facebook and your friends group. And I'm like, the problem with that is I have just shy of like 3,000 people on my Facebook. So it would take me, even if half of them, even if I had to go through half of them, it would take me weeks, So I generally try and trying to wait for them to out themselves. And then I make the decision of whether to remove them from my Facebook, because I'm fine with conservative views. People want to have conservative views. That's one thing. But if you've got racist,
I grew up with very
misogynistic or Trump-related supporting views,
that's the thing. See, in all honesty, I align with what the Republican Party is supposed to stand for. Although I got to say, as I've grown older, I've gotten a lot more liberal. But growing up,
which is funny because that's usually the opposite.
Right, it's usually the opposite. But I grew up in a very conservative family. I grew up in a very conservative Catholic family, and in the 80s, I supported Reagan. Although now I look at and I read about what Reagan did, and he fucked us. But Uh, the I voted for Bush in the first election. My first time voting. I voted for George Bush. Um, the second election, I actually still voted for George Bush against Clinton. And then the third election that I voted in, I actually started voting Democrat, and I haven't voted Republican since. I probably could have gotten behind McCain,
yeah,
if he didn't have Palin as his running mate.
Right.
She destroyed his campaign.
Oh, she absolutely did. She absolutely did. It was the biggest mistake. He could very well. It was quite possible he could have taken the election if he hadn't had her.
Oh yeah. I think he might have. But I mean, I'm not upset with Obama. He wasn't perfect. I don't think any president has been perfect. But I also don't necessarily think outside of this one that anyone has been a total debacle. I thought George W. might have been at the time, but in comparison, I'd take him any day over what we have now.
I agree. I mean, I'd take a chimpanzee with a head wound going
on. Man, that beer goes down way too fast, way too smooth. Or either that, or else it's the topic that we're talking about, and I'm going back to what I was doing that night. Yeah, that's what I did that night. I just kept drinking.
Yeah, see, that was the thing too.
And by halfway through, I switched from beer to whiskey.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Well, people were saying don't do the drinking game during the debate. You'll be dead. I saw a funny meme where some newscaster saying 6 million people reported to the emergency room last night while playing the presidential debate drinking game, and drinking themselves into oblivion. I think it was like take a drink every time Trump lies or something. Dead. You'll be dead in 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I think it was every time Joe loses his train of thought or something like that.
Another one too. It's just the whole situation is just so ridiculous.
It is redonkulous.
It is. We shouldn't say that. Don't say redonkulous. That was the name of my friend's YouTube channel that I had to block. Redonkulous.
It was a flaming dumpster full of dog shit.
It was, and I mean, so in response, Saturday Night Live and its
that was fucking brilliant,
right? And Saturday Night Live's wondrous ability to parody things. The opening skit for Saturday Night Live
last week
was the opener, as they call it, was a parody of the debates. You had Jim Carrey as
Joe Biden,
and he was spectacular. He was so fantastic. I mean, Chris Rock was actually the host, but so you had Jim Carrey come out as Biden. You, of course, had Baldwin came out as Donald Trump, and he has been doing a brilliant Donald Trump since the beginning of all of this. And it was the funniest goddamn, it was really.
It got me to actually sit and watch the entire show.
I did not watch the whole show. Now this was
I also like Chris Rock. So
sure. This was the first show back in the studio.
Yes,
because they had been doing these mobile shows and whatever else, and so this is the first time back in the studio. So that was pretty cool too. And so anyway, I mean, the funny thing is this had also, they did this skit also after Donald Trump had revealed that he had tested positive for the coronavirus,
which was the other big thing that I wanted to talk about.
Exactly.
Is
and of course, in the skit, they addressed it sort of a little bit by Biden, played by Jim Carrey, of course, pauses Donald Trump with a remote control and addresses the audience, addresses the tough. Isn't it great that we don't have to hear his goddamn voice for a few minutes, I mean, he actually said goddamn on television. That's something they tend to avoid. And
but that late, I think they can say it.
Yeah, of course. And then he basically said how he believes in science and karma. And I lost my shit.
Speaking of that, though, I watched the Daily Social Distance Show with Trevor Noah from last week when the announcement came out, and actually I watched it on from yesterday as well. And I love Trevor Noah. I think he's fucking hilarious.
He is.
He's
really
very, very, very talented. But he actually came up and he said, "It's not karma. It is, what was it? It's not karma. It was like circumstance." He's like, "It's not karma if you are struck by lightning while standing on top of a tall building, waving a metal rod over your head while there's lightning around."
That's quite true. That's quite true. It's not karma.
He's like, "That's not karma."
Trevor Noah is extremely smart. I mean, he does a really great job.
Well, and he also said that I don't wish Trump, I do not hope that Trump dies from this. I do not wish his death. I don't wish anyone's death, but I do not wish his death. I wish him a speedy recovery, a lengthy recovery, a quick losing battle, or a quick losing election, and then a long prison sentence.
Yeah,
is what I saw somebody say.
A friend of mine at work today said, she goes, one of the girls was like, I straight up hope he dies. And then my friend, one of the other girls had said something like to the effect, she goes, "I don't want him to die. I want him to go to prison." And I go, "Yes, death is too quick. I want him to go to prison for a long time. I want him to lose everything that he has. I don't, even if he did go to prison, he wouldn't lose everything. He'd get out of prison, maybe, if he survived it, and would probably go back to at least living in some sort of lap of luxury. But he would lose. And I think that would devastate him more than anything else.
Losing is what's going to destroy him.
Yes, absolutely.
He can't lose. And he'll never admit that he lost. Right. Even if he loses the election, he will always say that it was rigged and that it was the mail-in ballots and that he actually won. And
yeah, exactly. And it was I think seeing him, like, that's the other thing. I felt really bad for Melania because she caught it as well. I felt bad for all of his staffers that have also now been diagnosed with coronavirus. Now,
well, they're saying that the announcement of what's her name, Barrett, her nomination was the super spreader event. Because they're all packed in the Rose Garden. Almost nobody's wearing a mask. Right. And at least I think it is 10 people that were at that event. Then they had an indoor reception where a bunch of people weren't wearing masks. And they were showing everyone from pictures of it, and they're all standing close together, and there's little P's over their head as for everyone that tested positive. And I think there were like 10 people that were at that event that have now tested positive.
Right. And then he irresponsibly goes on and says things like, "Don't worry, it's not that bad," essentially, and you'll be able to beat this, and we'll all beat this, and everything. Yeah, and then I saw a meme said, "Yeah, you can beat coronavirus if you've got access to a private helicopter, 12 of the best doctors in the world, and all the drugs and access to all of the best drugs, no matter what. Of course, you can. Don't be an asshole." I mean, the fact that he is saying that kind of stuff is grossly irresponsible, and it's amazing to me that he just keeps piling on and piling on and piling on things that you would think would not get him reelected.
Yeah,
but people are still defending him, and I mean, this is a song that we have played over and over again. I mean, I have sang this song so many times, my throat's sore. And yet it still happens. And I'm just like, I'm shocked all the hell. So he went back to the White House yesterday.
Yeah, supposedly he's like beaten coronavirus in 72 hours.
Yeah, the video that showed him kind of addressing, and you could see he was breathing heavily.
Yes.
Taking deeper breaths and whatnot.
Well, yeah, you don't beat it that fast.
He's still contagious, Chris. He's still contagious. He went back to work, still contagious. And some guy I know, he had said something to the effect of, like, people were saying, well, what about all the Secret Service guys and everybody that works for him that are now exposed to it
Yep.
because of him? And one of the guys I know said, well, they take a vow to protect the president no matter what.
Yep.
Just because they take a vow to take a bullet for the president doesn't mean the president gets to shoot them himself.
That's true.
And that shit is disgusting. And
well, and that whole thing where he did like the videos and pictures of him working at the hospital, and it was supposedly like hours apart or something like that. They've shown how hard he was working. Someone actually looked at the actual like info from the videos themselves and looked at it and saw that they were actually only 10 minutes apart.
Yeah, it was complete bullshit. It was complete bullshit. It was all, I guarantee he was lying there sleeping most of the time. He's a 75-year-old man, 74-year-old man with coronavirus. He was sleeping. They drugged him up. They doped him up. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
I think I think one of the funnier things, though, was when people were actually suggesting that this was just a hoax or, sympathy kind of thing.
That was actually one of the things I wanted to talk about, too, was my first reaction and a lot of people's first reaction, and this is what we've been conditioned to by this man, is my first reaction was, nah, it's bullshit. He doesn't have it.
It was mine, too.
I'm like, you know what? This is an easy way for him to get out of any more debates.
Right. For about 5 minutes, I was like, I bet you this is bullshit. And then I'm like, no, there's no way. If it were to get out, he can't take that risk. If it were to get out that he didn't have it at all, and that it was a lie, he would lose even more credibility.
Oh, hell yeah.
He has, so.
Well, and the thing is that, too, I mean, his doctor came out and misspoke, and his chief of staff misspoke when because there's conflicting timelines on when he knew about it and when all this, because there's things saying that he knew that he had it Wednesday morning and still went to a fundraiser that evening in New Jersey.
That he refused to take the corona test on the night of the event or of the debate.
Oh, did he?
I think so.
Then he shouldn't have even been allowed on there.
Right. His family members, nobody wore masks, except for Joe Biden, who apparently has the biggest mask. It's the biggest mask I've ever seen. It's huge.
He's standing 60 feet away from somebody, and he's still wearing this giant mask.
So what an asshole, I swear.
But yeah, so supposedly he's been taking this experimental drug, and it's supposedly working, and that he's going to be okay. But I don't think it's going to be anytime soon.
No. Nope.
I don't think we're going to get another presidential debate.
Probably not. I mean,
which might be a good thing.
We really are right around the corner. I mean, we're less than 30 days.
Well, we're supposed to have 2 more debates.
Right.
Because tomorrow night is the vice presidential debate, and then the next 2 Thursdays, not this week, but the following week, and then the week after that, the Thursday just before the election, we were supposed to have presidential debates. I think those are going to be gone.
Right. I would have to agree. It's such a massive shit show, though. I've had a number of friends that, like I said, just like dialing into pulling up my Facebook page and seeing the ridiculous debate about how it's not an argument. I mean, what I put up was not an argument. It was not. It was
a statement.
It was a statement saying, and basically my statement was, yeah, and if you support white supremacy, get the fuck off my page and out of my life. It was it. And yet a couple of my very ridiculous conservative, Facebook friends and acquaintances or whatever decided to turn it into a political debate. And it was unbelievable, unfucking believable. So, and that happened because of what Donald Trump represents and what he has created in this country right now.
Yep.
So,
well, we should probably move on.
Yeah. Real quick, one of the things that I think we need to talk about, I wanted to raise that before I run out Saturday. I wanted to raise a drink to a great man, a great musician, somebody who who gave us
from what I've heard, it was kind of an asshole, but.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I didn't know him. All I knew is that I enjoyed his music.
Yes.
But today, Eddie Van Halen, it was announced that he passed away at the age of 65.
Yep.
Due to throat cancer.
Yeah, throat cancer. He'd had tongue cancer before, and
he'd had a part of his tongue had been removed, actually.
Yeah, and he'd been fighting cancer for a while, but yeah, he was another guitar great gone.
Oh yeah, one of the greatest, one of the best. You know, I mean,
so
a drink. We raise a drink to Eddie Van Halen.
Yep.
Our hearts go out to his family and to his fans that beloved him and his friends. And
I was one of his fans. I mean, I heard he was an asshole, but I loved his music. I thought he was a very talented guitarist. So, Slacha. Well, not Slacha, but here's to you. Yeah, I didn't like the way he treated Michael Anthony and kicking him out of the band so he could put his kid in the band and shit like that. It just
I heard that there were things that he had done over the years, but we also don't know. You don't know. We're not there. We're not part of it. There was, from what I understand, I heard that David Lee Roth was a serious prima donna and a huge pain in the ass.
Oh, I don't doubt that. I mean, I've seen interviews with David Lee Roth. I have no doubts in my mind that he thinks the world revolves around him.
Exactly. So, but anyway, I mean, talented people are complicated, I mean.
Yep. They're still people.
Yeah, exactly. So.
So one of the things that I was just going to bring up real quick, I picked up a new game on Sunday. So 2 days ago. I picked up Star Wars Squadrons, which is the latest Star Wars game. It actually is a 5v5 dogfight fighting game. What the main thing is. It's kind of like Battlefront, but in space. Is really what it is. Is what I'm learning. It does have a solo story mission, which I've been doing. And
solo story campaign.
Yes, solo story campaign. Yes.
Right.
The prologue actually took me about an hour to do, just the prologue.
Okay.
You bounce back and forth between being an Imperial pilot and a New Republic pilot.
Right. It takes place right after Jedi, right?
Yeah, it actually starts before Jedi, but the actual main campaign takes place after. So you do the prologue and then it jumps 4 years.
Okay.
Because it's right after the Battle of Yavin and the destruction of the Death Star. Or no, actually, it's just before the destruction of Alderaan is where you start.
Oh, okay.
And then it jumps 4 years, so now you're actually after the Battle of Endor. So you're after the 4, 5, and 6, and you start off as a TIE pilot, then you go to an X-Wing pilot, and then when you jump 4 years, you're still the X-Wing pilot. So I haven't gone back to the TIE pilot yet because I'm still doing that second portion. It is not easy, at least not for me. Flying in 3 dimensions is a bitch. Although the controls aren't bad. The controls are not too bad with getting around and things like that. But you've got so many different things you can do, and it differs between the TIE fighter and the X-Wing. Like the X-Wing has a speed boost that it can do, and it has a couple other things. It has missiles, whereas the TIE fighter just has its lasers. So it's definitely different. But it's been fun, and the graphics are insanely cool. They are so cool.
It's cool. Now that game is also PSVR, or at least at the very least,
yes.
VR.
It is VR capable.
Capable.
Yes. So yeah, you could actually, and everything's first person in the ship view. So even when you're walking around, you can see that it's set up for VR because basically you just kind of move over this way and you click on a button to go to the door. type of thing. You're not actually moving the controller to walk around. So
Okay.
you're it's more like the VR setups where you just kind of go, I want to go there and click and go that way. So I can see how it would work with VR, but honestly, I think playing it with VR, this would be a reason to get a PlayStation VR for me, because I got it for PlayStation. And
Right
one
on.
of the reasons, my buddy got it for the computer because he's got a VR set up for the computer. And actually, with COVID, I haven't been over to his house. I went over to his house once when we were outside, but I really kind of want to go over now and actually just put the VR gear on and sit there and play this game sitting in a chair like I'm sitting in an X-Wing or a TIE fighter and actually flying around. I think that would be badass.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I've been wanting to get a VR system, PlayStation VR system for quite a while. I mean, I wouldn't mind getting the Oculus for my computer, but I just think it'd be better just to get it for my PlayStation.
And I think I'm waiting. I think I'm going to wait till the PS5 before I start looking into that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, so that's a problem. The problem is the PS5 I'm going to get, it's going to be $500, and then it's another like $250 to $300 for the VR setup. So it's like, oh God, you know.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm gonna get it right away.
Right, but I really want to get it. I'd also really like to test it out first, because I would really hate to be one of those people that gets
motion sickness.
Yeah, it gets motion sickness. Like some people, it depends on the game. Like you can play fucking Beat Saber all day, but you get into a game where you're actually piloting a vehicle and you get motion sickness, you know. So it just depends.
Yeah. The only one I've played, I was at my buddy's house and he actually had the Vader Immortal game. Okay. And oh my God, dude, I could have played that all day. That was just so cool. He's like, you have to play, he goes, it'll take you 15 minutes or so. He goes, but you have to play up until you get your lightsaber. And you actually start training with it. He goes, then you're gonna, and sure enough, man, I got to that point and it's so cool. You're playing against this training droid, and it's just you're swinging stuff around. For me though, I have a problem with VR in a house because I don't have a room big enough to contain me moving around and swinging my arms everywhere without whacking into a ceiling fan or smacking a wall or something like that.
Yeah, I'd have to move my coffee table out of the way a little bit, at least to kind of clear a little bit of space. But I would love to play. There's both Skyrim and Fallout 4 VR, and I would.
Oh, is there Fallout 4 too?
I believe there is. Yeah,
I knew Skyrim. I didn't know Fallout 4 was.
I mean, it doesn't take a ton to actually. I mean, you can already play those games in first person, so it's not going to take a ton of reconfiguring to play it.
I mean, I can see BioShock doing that too, because that's all first person.
Exactamundo. So,
but yeah. So right now, first impressions, it's an enjoyable game. It's a lot of fun. If you ever wanted to fly an X-Wing or a TIE fighter, it's definitely cool. They suggest that you play through the entire campaign before you actually start doing the PvP, because you learn everything you need to know in the campaign. And from what I've heard, it's only 14 missions right now for the campaign.
Thankfully, I believe the game on Facebook, the game on Amazon, you can get $40. So it's not one of those games that it's not a $60 game; it's a $40 game. And I think the main reason for that is because yes, there is a single player game for it, but it's really largely made for online. You know,
and that's actually one of the reasons why I bought it, was because it was only $40. I got it at Best Buy. They had it. I ordered it on Sunday at I put in my order at 11 a.m. and they said it'll be ready in an hour or whatever. And at 11:15 or 12:15, it might have been 12 that I put it in. And it was within 15 minutes, I got an email saying, "Hey, your order's ready." And I'm like, "Holy shit! I should take a shower then and go pick it up." But I just did the curbside pickup. I'm like, I don't need to go inside. If I don't have to go inside someplace, I won't right now.
I wear my mask, and I'm okay to go inside to certain things in certain places. I mean, I'm not. I have a proper. I think I have a proper amount of caution and care when it comes to
I
this.
do
So
too.
I'm not completely willing to just like avoid all human contact. I mean,
And I'm not either. I don't think that we should or can. I just think we do need to take the proper cautions. The Supreme Court overturning another local or news story here. The Michigan Supreme Court overruling the governor's emergency order, basically saying that she didn't have the authority to extend it past April 30th, is I think a problem here because we'll be maskless within. They're saying we'll be maskless within 3 weeks.
Is that what they're saying? That
Yep.
They're going to lift
that because there's no a lot of places. Although Oakland County has already said that they're sticking with the mask ordinance,
right?
But the governor herself actually at this point has no authority to say that there has to be masks worn. So they're saying within 3 weeks everything will be back to you can wear a mask if you want to, but you don't have to.
Right. And I think a lot of the smart people really, the people that really are worried about this are going to continue to wear a mask, either way.
It's an intelligence test. We're gonna see who the smart people are who agree with science.
Yeah, exactly. Like Stella went back to work on Sunday. That was another thing. Like, hey, Stella went back to work at the bookstore on Sunday. She's going to be working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and which is great because I work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And she's going to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Awesome. But anyway, she was talking about how much it sucks to have to wear a mask at her work all day. And I'm just like, okay. Just because I'm going to do it and everything. But I mean, I got sweaty and it's wet. I'm like, well, you're in an air-conditioned bookstore. I mean, how much are you really sweating? And she's like, it still sucks. And I'm like, of course it sucks. I mean, a lot of people, most people don't want to have to wear the mask, but we're doing it because it's the responsible thing to do. And we're all doing it because it's the right thing and the thing that we got to do. And yet there's still so many people out there that are just ready to rip that mask off as soon as they fucking can.
Dude, I went into work the other day and it's optional to go into the office. I had to go in. It wasn't really an option for me. I had to go in to take care of some stuff and work on our lab equipment because we're doing some testing to get some stuff up and running by the end of the month. And so I had to go in for a few hours. But I went in. I wore my mask the whole time. It sucked. But what amazed me was the fact that I had to park out in the fucking boonies because I'd say 90% of our workforce is back in the office.
Wow.
And they're packed in there like sardines. There's little plastic barricades between them on the desks, but people sit back here so that it's not like there's anything between you and the person next to you. It's horrible. I'm not happy, and I don't want to go back in anytime soon. I'm like I am not ready to go back in the office yet. I'm all for safe conditions and all that, but I believe in the social distancing.
Yeah, sure. Well, and the thing is too is ultimately, like the social distancing and everything we've been going through in this has proven that we don't need it. Not the social. We don't need to necessarily have all these jobs that required you go into an office. Like there have been studies that have shown that since so many businesses, so many companies went into home work because mobile working and whatnot, virtual working, because of the coronavirus, that the productivity level has not dropped. In fact, it's actually increased in some cases.
In a lot of cases, yeah.
In a lot of cases, it's increased. So people can continue to do this and still be a very effective workforce.
Yep.
So, I don't know, man.
Yeah. So, another thing that I saw, we've gotten some news on the Game of Thrones sequel.
Oh, really?
There's actually a casting note. Let me pull it up here real quick. And actually, what it is, it's going to be called House of the Dragon.
Okay.
And they've cast King Viserys Targaryen.
Okay.
And they're saying, let's see, who is it? That's Patty Considine from The Outsiders is going to be King Viserys the First.
Okay, cool.
He's the Targaryen ruler who foolishly did not anticipate the war of succession that would follow his death. Let's see. Viserys was chosen by the lords of Westeros to succeed the old king, Jaehaerys Targaryen, at the Council of Harrenhal. A warm, kind, and decent man, Viserys only wishes to carry forward his grandfather's legacy, but we've learned from Game of Thrones, good men do not necessarily make for great kings.
Yeah.
So it's going to take place about 300 years before Game of Thrones. And it's like the end of the dragons. It's where the dragons were destroyed and all of that happened in that time frame. So they're saying that it's actually based on George R. R. Martin's book Fire and Blood, which I didn't even know about, I guess. Okay. It's a prequel book that he did. And they're saying that originally they were saying 2022 is when we'll get it. But with the whole coronavirus thing, that's up in the air on whether or not that's actually going to happen, if we're actually going to hit that date. But yeah, it's 300 years before the events of Game of Thrones. That's when Aegon the Conqueror united the Six and Seven Kingdoms under his rule, launching a nearly 3-century dynasty. Thought that it might mean the House of Dragons would be an anthology series. The show will instead focus on the first Targaryen civil war, known as the Dance of the Dragons.
Man, I'm in.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. It is the war that was roughly 130 years after Aegon stepped foot on what became King's Landing, contributed to the extinction of the dragons, House Targaryen's greatest source of power. Another dragon was not seen until Daenerys hatched 3 nearly 150 years later. So it's 150 years before Game of Thrones.
I thought that they were going to be, I thought it was going to be even like longer before that.
Well, okay, originally, cool. Yeah, there was one, and they talk about that. There was one that HBO actually wound up passing on. It was known unofficially as Blood Moon. It was set thousands of years earlier during the mysterious era when Westeros' Age of Heroes descended into the first long night, which was the first thing we heard about. But I guess HBO has passed on that and said, no, we're not going to do that one.
Oh, that's right. There were 2. There were supposed to be 2 originally. And yeah, okay.
So that's really all there is on that. I got that from the Nerdist. But yeah, it's supposedly 2022. We'll get more from the Game of Thrones world.
All right, very cool. Here's some little video game news here that came up. Apparently, the next DLC character for Mortal Kombat 11, the rumor is Rambo. Believe it or not.
Okay.
Rambo.
Is he going to have like explosive arrowheads too? Because
I don't know.
I'm not playing Rambo unless I get the explosive arrows from Rambo 2.
Well, it's there is a little tiny 7-second teaser. It's going to be revealed on October 8th. But basically, people are they're guessing that it may be Rambo. So
Rambo does not need to be in fucking Mortal Kombat.
No, I agree. I think that's dumb. But all right.
If you're gonna put Rambo in there, then put fucking Rocky in too.
I don't get it, but okay. I mean, sorry I'm yawning so much. I am kind of exhausted. What else? There was something else.
One of the other things I had while you look for that. So Critical Role, which we've made we've not been shy about saying how much we like that show and everything like that.
What is this show you speak of?
and how much we enjoy the people who are on it and all that. But
I don't know what you're talking about.
That show is such a phenomenon. They are getting this winter. We will get a Munchkin version of Critical Role.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
Based on the Mighty Nine, it's not going to be based on Vox Machina. It's going to be based on Mighty Nine,
right?
And the events of Campaign 2. This winter we will get a Mighty Nine Munchkin.
All right, that's cool. I'm not really. I've only played Munchkin once or twice, so
I actually really enjoy Munchkin. I got a buddy who he doesn't give a shit if he wins or loses. He just wants the most stuff. So what he gets, he'll get like pissed if you start like taking his stuff.
Okay.
If you like steal his stuff from him, he gets pissed. You kill him, he doesn't give a shit. But if you take his stuff, he gets really fucking pissed.
That's funny. So, all right, there's something to look forward to is Munchkin from Critical Role. The makers, what is it, Palladium Games or something like that?
Steve Jackson Games.
Steve Jackson Games, okay. So that's something to look forward to. Some bad news on the Netflix front. The TV show Glow has been canceled, even though Netflix had initially renewed it for a fourth season.
Like Stumptown.
Yeah, it was going to be the four seasons and out. They're going to do one more season, and they were going to top it out, which is a big shame because the third season really did end on not exactly a cliffhanger, but it ended on sort of. It ended on with fully the intention of continuing on. So apparently it was canceled due to coronavirus because of trying to figure out how to film a wrestling show that would keep people and keep the actors safe.
I gotta say, I think coronavirus is going to be like the writer's strike for some of these shows. It's gonna destroy some shows. The rookie's not coming back until at least January, I think it is, because they haven't even started filming yet.
Well, the problem with that too is there's a lot of the cop shows are reevaluating because of BLM and because of all of the issues that have been going on. Yeah, because of all the issues that are going on, because the marching and the world basically taking a closer look at American policing, that a lot of cop shows are kind of reevaluating what they're doing. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is another one. I mean, they had 4 episodes written and they just took them and tossed them in the trash and said, we got to start from scratch. So I would not be surprised if we see shows like The Rookie and Brooklyn Nine-Nine and
there's like 3 new cop shows coming out this fall too.
Yeah. There's one with Jessica Alba.
It's the LA's Finest.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, there was also like 911, which was more, about firefighters, but it also had police officers that were prominent characters as well. So it's just kind of sucks, But yeah, Glow has been canceled. I mean, I'm hoping that maybe they'll try and shop it around to Amazon or something else, and maybe give it some more time. But there are shows that have gone into production. I mean, they just recently we saw new images of The Witcher, and he's been
armor.
Yeah, in his new armor and stuff. So, so they're talking about that. Some shows have gone back into production. Some are, maybe limited production or very careful production. I don't know. We'll see. I think coronavirus. I think you're right. I think it'd be similar to the writer's strike, and we're going to be. But the wonderful thing, the beautiful thing, is that maybe it'll give us a chance to catch up on some of the things that we haven't been able to get caught up on. So. And
that's what I'm thinking. I'm hoping I can get caught up on some stuff, because I was looking at it and I'm like, okay, the new fall schedule's out, and I'm like, oh shit, it is. It's time for all the new shows to come out. What's coming out when? And I started looking, and yeah, there's stuff that's coming out and premiering between now and like the beginning of December. But I'm like, I'm looking at all this and I'm like, nope, not gonna watch it. None of my shows are starting back up.
Right.
I'm like, I don't see any shows that I really am all that jazzed about watching. So
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I've been trying to get like caught up on maybe some older shows and watching some other things that I've been kind of meaning to get around to, catching up on some movies. Um, I watched Superman Red Sun,
okay.
DC, one of the newer DC animated films on Sunday. It was brilliant, very well done. And now, for those of you guys who are not aware, it was a really well known Elseworlds tale of basically what if Superman landed in communist Russia instead of the heartland of Smallville, Kansas. So, and it's really good. It was well animated, beautiful, just like all the DC animated movies. Really well done. And then I also watched Super Troopers 2, which had been sitting on my shelf for a while.
I haven't watched Super Troopers yet.
You've never seen the original?
No.
Oh my God. Chris, I'm ashamed of you.
Why?
Because it's amazeballs.
It's a dumbass movie.
No, it's not a dumbass movie. I mean, yes, it's a dumbass movie.
Watch it right meow.
Roger, right meow. But it's brilliantly dumbass. It's awesome. It's hilarious. And the sequel, I will say, was entertaining. It wasn't as good as the first one, but it was still had some funny shit in it, and it was pretty good. And honestly, interestingly enough, Super Troopers 2 was the first movie that was crowd funded on Indiegogo. The first big budget film. It was crowdfunded on Indiegogo. Excuse me. So anyway, yeah, I watched that. You know, there's so many things that I've been meaning to get around to, and you know, hopefully, I don't know, we'll be able to watch some other shit or rewatch some classic shit, or just things that haven't been, they've been sitting around. Star Trek Discovery comes out pretty soon, next week, next season.
I think it's next week. I think it's like the 16th or something like that. So it's like 10 days.
So season 3 of Star Trek Discovery starting up right soon. We're still enjoying the wonderful comedic take of Star Trek on Lower Decks as well. And there will be, I believe they're going to be starting filming on Picard relatively soon as well, Picard season 2. I had another thing here. The new trailer for Free Guy, second trailer for the new movie starring what's his name? Deadpool.
Ryan Reynolds.
Thank you. Ryan Reynolds. I'm very tired. Ryan Reynolds' new movie, Free Guy. There's the new trailer for that. Just came out, and it looks really cool. It looks even gives a little more insight as to exactly what's going on and stuff like that. And I think it looks really good. It looks like they're still trying to get a theatrical release on that one.
That's what I've been seeing. They keep saying it's going to be in theaters.
Yeah,
is when they're gonna put it. So
we'll see. We're still, theatrical releases are still very few and far between. The new Dune movie has also been pushed back to 21 as well.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah. So
unfortunately, the world is still on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying, everybody. We're trying
to
put out some of that fire.
Watching the stuff with Trevor Noah that I was talking about earlier, one of the other things from last night's show, he actually was talking with Jason Momoa, who was just recently here in Detroit.
He was, a couple months back.
Not even a couple months back, like a week ago. He was spotted in Ferndale again. From what I understand, is he has friends in Ferndale.
Yeah, he has friends in the area.
Yeah, so he hangs out there a lot. He was actually he was outside of the Fly Trap.
Oh wow!
Which is a little diner. Cool. For those that don't know, it's a little diner. Really great food, actually.
Yeah, it was actually featured on
brunch place. Yeah,
it was featured on Guy Fieri's show, Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives.
Oh, was it?
Food Network. Yeah,
I've eaten there a couple times.
It's great. The food's great. Fucking great. But it's also it's a little fancier. It's not just like your average greasy spoon food. It's a little fancier than that, but it's well done. it's like comfort food, and
it's well made. It's so
really
good, but
well.
it's a little tiny place too. But it was it looked like him and a friend that were out there. But basically he was talking about the new documentary that he's put out, which is basically all about the indigenous peoples of North America and the destruction of their way of life and the food sources and things like that, and a bunch of things that were going on with that, and supposedly really good. But anyway, he's also, and I think this is why he was here in Ferndale, was he stopped by because he was on his way to Canada to where he's filming something, and he is currently in a house in Canada and cannot leave for 2 weeks because of Corona. That is the Canadians. He's like, yeah. He goes, Canada's not messing around with this.
No.
He's like, if you leave the house, and Trevor Noah actually even said, he's like, yeah. He goes, it's like a $750,000 fine if you are under quarantine and you leave the house.
Wow. It's a lot of money, even in Canadian dollars.
Well, one of the things he talked about the fact that with 10 people catching the virus at the White House, that's more than that over the weekend. Those 10 people means that there's a larger outbreak at the White House than, see if I can remember all the countries. It was New Zealand, Taiwan, Vietnam. There's another one, and Australia combined.
Wow. It's crazy. But
yeah,
it's mind-boggling to me. Hey man, that's really, and the funny, it's funny you mentioned that he went to Canada, because Super Troopers 2, a big part of the story involves Canada.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's a big major part of the story. So another
I'm
little
drinking
thing
my
here.
beer in my Stone Clover koozie.
Very nice.
And I have another one sitting right here too. Oops.
Well, aren't you fucking fancy?
I'm just so fancy.
I also this week decided Battlegrounds, the latest Dresden Files book came out.
Yep, I am in the middle of reading it.
I am not reading it yet because I'm currently listening to the audiobook for Peace Talks. I started it this morning. And I was waiting for Battlegrounds to come out first, and I joined Audible strictly so that I could get, with my Prime subscription, the 2 free books, and will probably be, after I'm done, promptly removing it or canceling it. But I guess I do get to keep those 2 books. It's so far I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of,
I gotta say,
visiting things, and
I really enjoyed Peace Talks. Battlegrounds, there's one part that I hit that I'm like, you can tell where he was rewriting things. Because he repeats something. He says something here, and then later on in the chapter, he repeats it. And I'm like, that's not like him to do that so close together.
Like he might have missed, like the editor might have missed it.
Might have missed that because of rewrites and adding additional stuff to make it into 2 full books,
right,
instead of one, like, War and Peace novel. Right. It's it was something that got missed. But so far I'm enjoying Battlegrounds as well. It's a war book.
I hear it's heavy.
It is a war story so far. It's rough. And the thing is, I finished Peace Talks the day before Battlegrounds came out, so I only had to wait 24 hours.
I would not be surprised if we lose characters, and you don't tell me anything, it's fine. But my prediction is that there's probably going to be some deaths that are probably.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm only about, I think, a quarter of the way into the book right now. If even that far, it might be 20%.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far it's pretty good. It is intense though.
In Peace Talks, I'm at the point where McCoy and Dresden just beat those outsiders that were in the parking garage, the
Yeah.
corner hounds.
Yeah, the corner hounds. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a pretty wild fight.
Pretty intense. Yeah,
yeah.
it is. I mean, it's your typical Jim Butcher, Harry Dresden books. So far, I know a lot of people had problems with Peace Talks. They felt it was only half a book. Well, yeah, essentially, you're getting two longer halves of one big book.
I will say this: it ends on a cliffhanger,
right?
But I mean, you knew the next book was coming out, so it's not like it is kind of half a book, but overall, I didn't see it that way. I saw it as a novel that he knew the next novel was coming out. So it's
real soon.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had no problems with it. I honestly, to give my actual opinion of Peace Talks, I thought it was a fantastic novel. Not the best, but I definitely thought it was really well done. And a lot of shit happens in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying just getting back to that world. If anything, honestly, there's a lot of shit I've forgotten because it's been a long time.
5 years.
I've listened to the first, like I said, I've got all the audiobooks up to Skin Game, which was the last one. Yeah.
Skin Game was the last one.
I have all the audiobooks and including the ones for the short stories and stuff. And I think I've only listened all the way through once. All the way. I wasn't in camera apparently. I've only listened to all of them all the way through like once. I've listened to the first like 4 or 5, maybe 2-3 times at least, and I've read many of them. But I think when I'm done with this, I'm gonna start from the beginning and just kind of do another like listen through because there are things I'm like listening to them. I'm like, wait a minute, who is this young spirit of intellect? I'm like, what the fuck was that? And then
go back to Skin Game for that one.
Right, that just happened in Skin Game. And then my friend Ross, who I work with, who also listens to the books, he was like, oh yeah, no, that was like kind of born of Lashiel's the extension of Lashiel and his mind's sacrifice.
Harry and Ashiel and
Harry and Lash's like child of his mind essentially, and now she lives in a carved skull and blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh okay. And he's staying with this the Svartal elves, basically the dark elves.
Svartals.
The Svartalves, basically the dark elves of Nordic mythology.
Mm-hmm.
In Chicago.
Yeah, he's in Molly's apartment.
Molly's apartment from one of the short stories where she kind of makes an alliance with these characters.
Which actually I haven't read Bombshells.
Actually, I haven't either.
Which is where you find out how she gets it, but he actually, that apartment comes in earlier on as well. Yeah. That's before Skin Game. It's the one before Skin Game. When he comes back from the dead, he finds out she has an apartment and everything once he gets off the island. Right.
So I definitely think I need to. I mean, my plan originally actually was to maybe at least listen to Skin Game again before I did that.
Yeah, I read Skin Game again before I read. That's what took me so long before I got into Peace Talks, and then I started reading Peace Talks, and it just happened that I finished it the day before Battleground came out, which worked out perfectly for me.
Right. I see. I was trying. The interesting thing, like you can download the books to your devices, so that in case you're not in case your Wi-Fi you don't have Wi-Fi or whatever, you don't have service. And so I was able to download them to my phone, but they don't download it as like a tangible MP3 file or something like that. So at least I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
It's a file that's read by the what is it? The app? What's the app? I just mentioned it earlier.
The Audible app?
The Audible app. Thank you. So
it's okay, Russ. We're almost done.
Fucking tired, man. So anyway, yeah, I was trying to download it to my computer. So because like I said, I have all of the audiobooks from the previous books. I'd like to put it in my collection, but so you basically get to pay for it, and it's in your Audible, file, but you don't ever, so you don't actually get the file.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would rather like pirate it again or something. So yeah, there was something else. I think.
Well, there's one thing I had, but we don't have time for it again tonight. So,
Batman number 100 comes out this week. I believe it is they're finishing up the Joker War storyline, where the Joker takes over. He steals essentially Bruce Wayne's fortune, and through semi-legal means steals the Wayne fortune. So he actually has like $100 billion to play with, and all of Batman's toys and all this other stuff. And he not only steals the fortune, like he steals the Wayne Foundation, everything, Wayne Enterprises. And like I said, I say steal in a very broad term. He actually takes possession somehow of all of these things. So anyway, the 100th issue of Batman comes out this week. I believe it is the end of that story, and it's getting amazingly good reviews. We're going to see some big changes are going to be coming after this. There's some people are saying like we could see Barbara Gordon stepping away from the role of Batgirl again for a while. A lot of Batman's lieutenants are going to be affected greatly by it. We're going to see Cassandra Cain, her character as the Orphan, and the Spoiler, both of them both previous Batgirls returning to a semi-Batgirl kind of role with the two of them. Dick Grayson has regained his memory and his personality and is once again himself again. He had been shot in the head and had lost a lot of his memory, and had basically was calling himself Rick Grayson, and was living in Bloodhaven. He basically knew at one point that he had been Batman's partner, but he had lost all the memory of it, and he basically just had the physical, his body, his muscle memory of it. Well, he was able to regain his memory, and so he's back. So there's we're looking at, like I said, the end of a big, huge, major storyline. It looks. I'm excited. Also, I think it was 2 weeks ago, the Detective Comics number 1027 had come out, which was 1000 issues of Batman, essentially, because Batman had premiered in Detective Comics number 27. So this is Detective Comics 1027. 1,000 issues. That's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. We're still 8 years away from his 100-year anniversary. So, but that's still pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Wait, 38, 39, 9 years. 9 years away. No, wait.
I said 19 years.
19 years. Excuse me.
39. I mean, we're still 20 years away from Superman's, aren't we? Or we were?
He was 1938. And Batman
so we're 18. Yeah, we're 18 years from Superman's, and.
Oh, wait a minute. Was it 38 or 28? I know this.
You're tired.
I'm really tired. I haven't slept much in the last.
Let's see. Days. Superman number 1.
No, it would be Action Comics.
38. Yeah, Action Comics number 1, 1930, June 1938.
So I was right. And then roughly almost a year later.
On sale date was May 1938.
Right. So. And almost a year later was Batman's.
Detective Comics, though, right?
Right. Detective Comics number 27. About a year later.
Oops, not 14. 27. Oh, wait. No, that didn't work right. That wasn't what I wanted. That's what I wanted. And, it doesn't say. There it is. Yeah, May 1939 was the cover date. So
exactly. Oh, there's another little tidbit of information. Apparently, HBO is loving what Zack Snyder is doing so much that they have then stated that they've given him even more money. That the Snyder cut is looking like it's going to cost about $70 million more total, 70 million total. Originally they'd given him like 30, 35 million. Now it's looking like it's going to cost for him to make this the Snyder cut about $70 million. Everybody, apparently the entire main cast is going back for reshoots and to shoot new stuff or whatever. So yeah, I would be surprised if it ends up getting extended even longer. I mean, they're talking about a four episode miniseries, essentially, a 4 hour long.
I think I would rather do it that way than as a 4-hour movie.
Yeah, me too. I mean, honestly, it's gonna get a lot here. We're gonna get a major kind of fucking thing. So, and getting the overhaul, I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's gonna be really great.
Oh, hey, so one of the other things for me that I didn't bring up over the last week, but I'm wearing it. I got my new hat.
Congratulations!
So, I like it a lot.
Is it a special hat? Is it?
Well, no, I mean it's not really special. It's just a new hat. It's
something you like.
It looks good. Okay. I like it.
All right, good for you.
Also, though, one of the other things I wanted to bring up is I've been watching Cobra Kai. Finally, I'm about halfway through the 2nd season now. Dude, that show is awesome. I love this show. I am so glad to hear that we're getting a 3rd and a 4th season of it.
Yeah.
This show is fantastic. I'm really enjoying the show. At first I had heard that it really made it everything's from Johnny's point of view. So it's
right.
It's Daniel's the bad guy, and that they show that he's really the bully and all this. And yeah, it kind of does that somewhat in the 1st season, but what you start doing is they start showing things from both people's perspective.
Right.
And you see how the two of them are very much alike, and you actually see them coming together at times and talking and almost working things out until something happens where there's a misunderstanding and shit breaks apart again. And
yeah, I've heard that.
One of the things about the show is that Johnny's actually trying to change in it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still doing the whole Cobra Kai thing, so he still has that alpha male toxic masculinity bully bullshit in his students, and only some of his students, but there's a couple that are just flat, one in particular that is flat out a complete and total asshole.
Right. Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I'm really excited. I think that's one of the next ones I think I'm going to get into. I've been kind of trying to binge watch through the The Office. I've never been able to have the chance to watch The Office.
Yeah, I haven't either.
And I've always heard it was great. So, and it's funny, but it is very cringy too. There's a lot of cringe humor, and I have a tough time with cringe humor. So there are times when I'm like, oh, I got to fast forward through this scene. I just can't handle it. And but I am enjoying it for the most part. I'm about little over 4. I'm into the 4th season, I think, or something like that. Yeah. But then Stella and I are also binging Big Bang Theory right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Renee and I just finished that. So
yeah, she's never watched it. I kind of backed away from it about season 7 or 8.
That's something I think maybe we'll bring that up next week because I want to talk about Big Bang again. Because I've seen some things, and after having seen the entire thing, I wouldn't mind going back and revisiting it and talking about it again.
Yeah,
because I know you and I had differing opinions on it for a long time.
Well, it was a friend of mine pointed out to me the fact that certain negative things about Big Bang Theory, and I kind of was like, wow, because there were a few things that always bothered me.
And let's not get into it now because we're already running late. So
right. So anyway, yeah, let's make plans next week to talk about that. Also, guys, just so you guys know, we're going to be probably starting maybe half an hour later next week for those of you who are sitting in on the show.
Yeah, and for the next few weeks.
Yeah, my work schedule because of the parade is extended, or we're working till at least 8 o'clock most Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. That it may also extend into later nights, some nights. So. Tentatively 8:30. It's going to be our new start time. If it does get later or whatnot, I might even just say, "Hey, Chris, maybe find a fill-in for the night," or we could maybe even potentially record on a different night occasionally, or like maybe on the weekend for a couple of weeks. I know this is it's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but unfortunately, it's the state of affairs during this part of during the crunch time for the Thanksgiving Day parade. So
yeah.
But yeah, I don't
know.
Yeah,
so 8:30 next week,
right?
And probably every one up until Thanksgiving.
Probably 8:30 for the next 2 weeks at the very least, and then we might want to go from we might have to figure something else out after that. I don't know. I mean, I could also bow out. I mean, that's a thing too. I mean, the overtime is not required, but I kind of need the money. So, but anyways,
and let's face it, this is something we're doing for fun. So
exactly. But we do want to, let everybody know, people that are watching and listening or whatever, what's going on. So, but anyway, so guys, thanks for listening, and tell all your friends about us, because we can always use more. We're still looking to get a few more subscribers.
We got one more follower on Twitch. Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
it's a guy I work with, actually.
Right, 30 now. So we're looking for 20 more. We need 20 more. We get a Twitch affiliate, and then that kind of brings.
Well, we still need some other things too. We still need to get more people watching as well, and talking in chat.
Sure.
So that's the big one. The getting 50 followers is a big one for Twitch.
Yeah.
For getting the affiliate status.
It's apparently, yes, Renee, math is hard.
You're just catching up on that?
Yeah, just check it out. Get that sweet OT money. You ain't kidding. But guys, we are available on all the places you find quality podcasting. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on iTunes, the Google Play Store, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, radio.com, and of course you can stream and download all of our episodes directly from nerdswithalcoholshow.com, as well as finding us on Twitch and YouTube at Drinking Nerds.
And you can follow us on most of the social medias, as you can see above us now. Oh, nope, that way. Over there on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. There. Instagram, Drinking Nerds. And over there past Russ is Twitter at Drinking Nerds. And then you can find us on Untapped as well. Nerds with Alcohol. Just search for Drinking Nerds on there. Send us a friend request, and we'll get you added.
Exactly. So once again, our hearts go out to the Van Halen family. He was a great man. He made some great music, and you were gone too soon. And,
65, man. That's too young, and it's really looking like it's way too old to retire.
Exactly. Absolutely.
With all these people, kicking it early.
Yeah. And guys, just keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, and please vote.
Get out and vote. Get out and vote.
Get your. If you don't want to get out to the polls, get your ballots in. Get your mail-in ballots in. I'm going to go to the polls myself because I don't foresee it being an issue.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to the polls.
So. Do it, but please get out there, get ready, and vote. We need you. Everybody needs to get in. This is bad. This is the worst, and we need to vote. We need everybody.
Yep.
So, all right, is that it? I think that's it. That's it.
All right. Well, I think that'll do it.
I think so too.
And on that note.
Until next time.
Slancha. Well, that was a good one. Oops.
That's good.
Oh, except that then I hit the mic. I got a new mic set up over here, so
yeah, I see
it's a new thing. And it just pissed the dog off, too. So have a good night, everybody.
Good night.